need to ask questions. If you want to ask questions, there will be opportunity to ask questions immediately, even I open the floor for that. All right, my name is Olakanmi Amoo-Onidundu. I'm the MD, CEO, OMP Consult. I sit on several boards of companies and all that. I am a fellow of about three institutes in Nigeria today, Strategic Management Institute, the CIPM, and also the International Institute of Chartered Consultants, that's international, and a member of several. Okay, my experience spans about 30 years plus or minus, and I've been privileged to sit on several boards of organizations like NUJ, like the Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria, like the Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, and also CIPM. I will say that my life even really reflects what I want to teach today, because I have had several instances in which I have had opportunity to negotiate, some bad, but many good. And so I will share part of this experience, and I will also share the concept and the textbook, even guidance that can make you even negotiate better than I do. Okay, and that's the goal, that you will do it better than even I do. Okay, so let's go. We go together. My outline is this. I hope to cover this, to elucidate and clarify the what of negotiation, the elements of negotiation. I will try to explain it as a two-way art, and I'll likewise even ground you in the philosophies of negotiation and the methods you want to go about negotiating. Likewise, even the process, drilling down on the process. We'll look at that. Then maybe I would also speak on issues of, how you can develop winning skills for negotiation and common pitfalls in negotiation. So the objective is so clear, therefore, you should be able, at the end of the day, know what negotiation is about. You should also be able to understand the elements, the substances, and the process of negotiation. And what we call the three methods of negotiation, you would be able to understand this. And there might be several other methods, but these are the three main methods of negotiation. And I would want to say that, you should be able to manage the cycles of influence and interests at the end of the day, because negotiation is all about even trading influence for interest, interest for influence. You should be able to manage the cycle, at the end of the day. And likewise, you must, at the end of this session, be able to understand the negotiation process and what is your partner, the best alternative to a negotiation or agreement, and likewise, how to pursue a win-win negotiation. So this is our roadmap. If you are looking for a map of how we will go, this is a roadmap, and this is the intended even take out from this session. Please, if you are with me, just put a yes on the chat box. I like my classes to be very interactive. Put a yes on the chat box. Learn to be very, very active on your chat box. That shows me you are in class. Thank you very much. Thank you. I love that. Keep it coming. Thank you, Syed. Thank you, dear. Thank you, Franklin. Thank you, Fazal. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so let's go. I will call on one member of the class. Franklin, please, you will help me out with this. Oh, dear Franklin, tell me an experience. You can open your mic and tell me an experience of a negotiation you had that went bad. And maybe, you just tell me one that went bad. It didn't go as you planned. Oh, dear Franklin, can you open your mic?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, a negotiation that went bad for me was because I'm into plantain chips. I sell plantain chips. I make plantain chips.
Wow.
So I was trying to get a particular store. So due to the high rise of the cost of plantain at that time, so we could not base on agree on a particular distribution price. So I think that's one bad experience.
Wow. And how did it feel in your mouth? What taste did it leave in, on your, you didn't like it?
I can't really tell if they like it, because when it comes to the product itself is really nice.
Okay.
It's really nice. It's in different stores. It's called Maya's Delight. It's really nice.
Awesome. So what lesson did you take out of that situation? How will you have done it better, if you are given another chance?
I would have done better in probably agreeing more in a certain price. I know it can be indifferent about the whole price agreement. It can be what the customer likes, and it can be something I can keep up with due to the time. Maybe the production comes cheaper, you can get it cheaper and all.
All right. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Oh, dear Franklin, that's an awesome example. Can we have Adams? Okay, no, let me take a lady now. Let me take a lady. Let's look for a lady. Can I have Ruth Richmond? Ruth Richmond, can you speak to me? Open your mic and tell me an example of a negotiation you once involved in and it went well. You succeeded. Ruth, can you help us out? Open your mic, Ruth. Is Ruth with us? Ruth Richmond? Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You have the floor.
Yeah, what's the question?
Yes, give us in a case study of one negotiation you were involved in that would have turned out very well. You were excited at the end of the day.
Oh, not a particular negotiation. Okay, I don't think it's a negotiation, but
Okay, explain it to us.
I paid for my designs to be designed.
Okay.
And it was a fair price. And when the designs came out, I really liked them.
Wow. Number one, you loved even the price at which the service was rendered, and you loved the output, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so critical things. The consideration is the price. So when you are satisfied with the consideration, it gave you satisfaction. The second thing is the outcome or the output. So what you did was a negotiation. You didn't know it was a negotiation. Indeed, it's a negotiation. Okay. So thank you very much for sharing. So please let us pen these two things down. In terms of the substance of negotiation, you may have several considerations. Some are price. Some has to do with fame. Some, whatever is your intended end. All right. Those are the considerations even that you bring to the table. It might even be just relationship. It might be friendship. You just want to negotiate well, so that person will be in friendship with you, and continue relationship. So several considerations. Okay, and let me also say that the outcome, when you now achieve the outcome, okay, it gives you satisfaction. So that's awesome. Okay, let's go now. So let's look at the what of negotiation. She wasn't too clear. Ruth was not so clear whether what she involved in was negotiation, but I tell you it's negotiation. Whenever two people exchange ideas with the intention of changing the dynamics of the relationship, with the intention of making a decision, with the intention of taking an action, then you are negotiated. Even as you were driving to office today and you stopped at even the amber light, even before it went red, all right, there was a internal negotiation going on within you, whether you should cross the light before it turned red or to wait. But maybe because of the consideration of the fact that the law enforcement agents may grab you if by 1 second you fail before the amber turns to red, and that's what made you to stop. So there can be internal negotiation, there can be external negotiation. Whenever you are exchanging ideas, whether with yourself or with other people, with an intention of changing the dynamics of relationship, with the intention of taking an action, making a decision, you are negotiating. All right. So it is really life. That's why I say it's not just a game. It's really life, because it can determine, for instance, if you cross the light at that amber, not knowing that it is almost turned to red, as a pedestrian, you think you can quickly beat it, and it turned into red, and it allowed vehicles to pass. Turned to red for pedestrians, and it allowed vehicles to pass. A split second decision may cost you your life. So it's not just a game. Negotiation impacts upon our life and upon even the things even that that make up our life. So it's important. Negotiation happens in business. It happens in the home. It happens at all times. So I will say that our life is all about negotiation, considerations, and the outcome. Will this consideration even be worth the outcome I'm looking for? Will the outcome even justify even the considerations I'm giving? So these two are the balances upon which negotiation takes place. It's very important. And we, in business, we say negotiation is a cooperative enterprise because it involves even all the sides bringing even on the table their consideration and placing bare the outcome they desire. And so there is a trade-off. And that's what we will learn in this amazing session. Okay, these are based on textbooks, concepts, even that negotiation is involved, based on researchers. These are some of the concepts. Number one, their interests. Their interest, the inanimate object, which is the street light I gave you, has its own interest. The interest is to protect the rights of other road users while protecting your own rights also. The interest is not to allow accident, not to allow social disorder, even though it's an inanimate object called the street light traffic controller. So, but when it comes to inter-party, I've told you, there can be intra-party or internal negotiation. There can be inter-party or two-way negotiation where it is, persons to persons. When it comes to persons to persons, which is inter-party negotiation, there is always interest at stake. And it is when the interest at stake are not satisfied that we have what we call a bad negotiation or negotiation that did not fall through. That was exactly the example of the first negotiation that, one of us said he took plantain chips to the store. They didn't agree on price. Okay, maybe if he had, some of the things to learn is, can he do something to the price? If he cannot, can he do something to the input that leads to reducing the price? You will find out today that, the same piece of sweets or biscuits that we used to buy 5 years ago, maybe 10 pieces makes 20 naira in those days. But because they know, based on research of these industries, of these companies that make the biscuit, they understood that the inflation rate even, has caught up with the disposable income of people. And they are not able to afford, if you put all the incidence of the inflation on your commodity and offer to them. So what did these companies do? They rather reduce the contents of their biscuit. Instead of 10 for 20 naira, some of you buy the same packet of biscuit, 3 pieces inside for 20 naira. So that's a way to think about it. What if he reduced some of the input, while not negotiating quality per se, but some of the inputs that are additives that that makes it very costly, he can reduce that. Maybe he can source the plantain from another source that can be cheaper. Maybe so you have to try several options. And that's why I said negotiation is all about options also. Options as the giver, options as the receiver, options as the offerer, options as the offerer. These are the two parties in negotiation. And it has to do with commitment, making up your mind about what to do. It has to do with legitimacy. Okay, you have a right even to put forward that position. That is why you are negotiating. You have a right to it. And likewise, legitimacy means you have the power even to do that negotiation. Because it will be foolhardy after doing all the negotiation and agreeing on price. Then you say, look, it is not, I don't have the power even to pay this price. Let me go and ask my Oga on the top. That will be frustrating to the other party. So legitimacy, you have the right and you have the power. Okay. And it's all about communication. Communication, we'll look at this later on. It's a two-way dialogue. It's not a one-way thing. Even with an inanimate even entity like that street light, you are dialoguing. First of all, you are doing an intra-personal dialogue, and you are doing an interpersonal dialogue with the street light, considering will it go amber, will it go red, how many seconds is it counting? So, and it's also giving you signals based on, the numbers that is counting there, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. So you are judging whether you should cross at that time. And I've told you it's all about alternatives, options and alternatives. Options are on the ground for you to take. Alternatives are the things, you decide to take. Those are, you decide to go with. Okay, so this is very, very important. Life is all about options. Life is all about alternatives. Life is all about interests. Life is about various commitments. Life is about people having various rights and authority. Life is all about relationships. And that is why life is about negotiation. And that's why I told you here, we negotiate every day. You negotiating what to wear, even to this Zoom meeting. You negotiating whether because it's a Zoom, I don't need to dress up even anyway. It's a negotiation. We negotiate every day. Don't forget the types I've broken down. It's intra and inter. That is, when it's intra, it's within you. When it's inter, it's within two entities or two people. Okay, and I've told you, even in recap, that very, very critical, even are the considerations and the outcome. Balancing the consideration and the outcome shows whether you will have a fruitful negotiation or a poor negotiation or a bad negotiation. Are you with me? Go on the chat box and put right now what you have learned so far. On the chat box, let's quickly go. I like feedback. It is critical for me. Go on the chat box and put there things you've learned so far. What are the two critical even things I said, even summarizes the elements of negotiation? Let's go. All right, let's go. And I told you there are two basic even taxonomies or categories of negotiation. Okay, two critical things that summarize. Okay, let me see this. Someone has said something. Awesome. Negotiation exists every day. Yes. But I said there are two critical things that summarizes the element: considerations and the outcome. Under considerations, you have interests, you have options, you have the issue of legitimacy, you have the relationships, you have the communication. But outcome, okay, is dependent upon the alternatives you take. Okay, it says interest is involved in every negotiation. Awesome, Adams, I love that. Interest is very, very important. Very important. Now, what did I say are the two basic categorization of negotiation? I said one involves you alone, one involves other. What did I say is the one that involves you alone? And how do I describe the one that involves others beyond you? Yes? Anybody? Anybody put that on the chat box? When negotiation involves you alone, it is called what? And when negotiation involves other people or other entities, it is called what? Put it on the chat box. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I am waiting for the first person. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes. Kumase Oluwaseyi. I love this. Intra and inter. It is intra when it involves only you alone. When the decisions, when even the interest, you are calculating every option within your head and your mind. What should I wear today? But you will find out that even though it is intra, it is based on the consideration of how others will see me. Even though our negotiations are intra, it has a relevance to the inter. How will others see me if I go out? Okay, because this is a Zoom meeting, I wouldn't open my video, so I don't need to dress. So you are inter as a consideration for inter also. And when it is inter, which is between two entities or two people, okay, that is the other aspect of negotiation. Thank you very much. Awesome. I like this feedback. I like this. Now, negotiation, however, is not a silver bullet. How do I mean? Not every situation allows you time to negotiate. There are times when it is not appropriate to negotiate because negotiation takes a process. There are some things we call reflex action. These are things that have to do with your survival. At such a time, what we call in biology your amygdala, which is the lowest base of your brain, your amygdala, A-M-Y, then G-A-L-A, A-M-Y-G-A-L-A, amygdala. The amygdala is the root base of your brain. It controls your emotion. The amygdala is put by the creator to ensure your survival. It controls your reflex action. And where any situation has to do with survival, the amygdala triggers in. It doesn't allow you to negotiate. Negotiation is in the realm of the frontal lobe of human being, which is your cerebrum, medulla oblongata. That's your cerebrum. That is where negotiations take place. Trade-off takes place. But I'm saying when there is an emergency, it is the control and command of the amygdala that triggers. And so there is no negotiation at that time. You hear a bomb, bah! Immediately you jump in fright. You don't even wait where you have jumped onto. It is because of the amygdala's reaction. And that's why I said negotiation is not a silver bullet. There are times when you are triggered into action, not even waiting to negotiate, not even waiting for logical reasoning. Negotiation is based on logical reasoning. In another instance where negotiation may be frustrated is where you have in an inter-negotiation mood, where the other partner, the other business person is unwilling and unyielding. At that time, if you go on negotiating, you will rub him or her off. So it is better maybe leave that place for a time. It is better to go away for a particular period. Maybe the resistance will have lowered when you come back. So there are times when you leave with an intention of coming back. So those times when you leave, it has not shown really that negotiation has failed. It has shown that you have applied wisdom to understand that at that particular time, negotiation even has been frustrated, and so you can try again. And in some instances where already the outcome has been predetermined. So what do you want to negotiate? Negotiation is, it doesn't have a fixed outcome, but where there's a fixed outcome, the outcome is already predetermined. Negotiation does not work in those situations. And that's why I said the negotiation is not a silver bullet. It doesn't work in all circumstances, all situations. So you must know when, where to negotiate. If there is a fire outbreak on the 13th floor where you are living, okay, and everyone is rushing for the lift, the escalator to take them down. And don't forget, because of COVID rules, they said only 2 people can be in that escalator. You will find that, look, at that particular time, negotiation will fail. Who will go in? People will rush in because of survival instinct. You agree with me? So emergencies, unwilling partners, and where outcomes have been predetermined, negotiation may not be so appropriate. Okay, there are the two-way art of negotiation. The two-way art of negotiation. The first is the fact that there is a substance of negotiation and there is a process of negotiation. The substance of negotiation has to do with the things you're negotiating about, the price, the considerations, the outcome that is expected. Those are the substance of negotiation. Okay, outcome expected. What is the price? What is the cost? What is the trade-off? What's the timing? Those are substance. The process is the how. How do I go about it? The how in negotiation, as in every effective communication, is much more important than the substance. Majority of negotiation between the United States and the Japanese government have failed because of the East and West dichotomy of cultural understanding and stance on negotiation. The Japanese are people who believe in building relationship on a long term. The Americans are people rather who believe in that time is money and you must quickly sign up the dotted line of the contract as soon as possible. And so they don't give even much more credence to just, all the greetings, all the, don't even talk about even the contract first, just build a relationship. And that is why, based on the record of the United States Department of Commerce, only one out of 25 negotiations between America and Japanese has been successful. So if I said 1 out of 25, you will know that, that is a huge, even low success rate. And why is this? It's because the Americans, by the time this data was collected, they didn't pay particular attention to the fact that process is much more important than substance in cross-functional and cross-cultural negotiations. This is very important. So, for instance, if you are, by the grace of God, you become maybe the head of Bank of Industry, and you want to negotiate with the Bank of Industry maybe in China, you must understand that because China is a basically hierarchical and patriarchal and paternalistic culture. If, for instance, the Chinese or the Koreans, these Far Eastern people, if they come to a meeting with you, unlike what the Americans will do, you can, if it's the Americans, you can give business card to everyone in the room. But when it comes to the Chinese, you cannot bypass the leader of the team of the negotiating team to distribute your business card to everyone in the contingent. You will have to, you will count all the numbers in this contingent and give the entire card to the leader. It is the leader of that team that will determine whether he wants to pass it on or not. If you violate that, which they say is their esteemed culture, it can frustrate even the negotiation, no matter how good your terms are. So don't forget, I said the substance has to do with the terms of negotiation, the price, the cost, even the outcome you expect, in all those things. But the process, the how you go about it, the essential communication aspect of negotiation is what determines whether negotiation will be effective or ineffective. I hope we understand this. Go on the chat box and write what you understand as the substance of negotiation and what you understand as the process of negotiation. Let's do that quickly. Let me have just about 3 people respond and we move on. Go on the chat box and write what you understand about the substance of negotiation and the process of negotiation. Yes, thank you very much. Awesome. I love that. Process is how you go about it. I love that. Adams, Larry, Ademola, thank you very much. Yes, let's have other people. Substance and process. Thank you. Yes, Kumashe, thank you. Substance of negotiation, about the chance, about the outcome, about the expected good, price, cost. Awesome. I love that. And Larry Adams also said process is more important than substance. Awesome. That is it. That's it. I love this. Thank you very much, class. Please pay attention to how. Don't forget, negotiation is a subset of communication. If you learn that the how of your communication is much more important than the what, you will succeed in life. No matter how highfalutin and highly celebrated your idea is, if you communicate it in a way that rubs even off the other party in a wrong way, you will meet a roadblock. So you must be circumspect and be wise in how you go about negotiation. And that's what we will do here. We'll teach you how to go about this. Awesome. Thank you. Now, let me get to the point that there are various philosophies in negotiation. But I will work with 3 major philosophies. Philosophies means the mindset with which you go into a business, into an endeavor, and into a particular thing you want to do. The first philosophy is the philosophy of the win-lose. Win-lose. You want to win at any cost. The other philosophy is the lose-lose. Oh boy, if I don't get it, nobody will get it. That's the lose-lose. If I don't get it, nobody will get it. Lose-lose. Then there is the dimension of the win-win. The win-win dimension, win-win philosophy of negotiation. Okay, I will be willing to trade off so that both of us will leave even the negotiation table happy. That's the win-win. And that is one of the most celebrated kind of negotiation today in globally in business. Let's look at what this is all about. Okay, I've told you the philosophies. Now let's look at the methods. Methods is how you go about it now. Okay, there is while philosophy is the mindset. Okay, now the how you go about it might be traditional negotiation, might be principled negotiation, and might still be win-win negotiation. So I will look at traditional, principled, and win-win, and the benefits, and disadvantage of each of them. Okay, and the process. Let's look at it together. Let's go. Okay, the traditional methods even put forward the positions they want to take. Okay, the concession that they are willing to take, and beyond that, they will tell you that, look, no, that's my compromise, I can't go further. The assumptions behind the traditional is the fact that, the traditional is not totally transparent in bringing to the table all their cards. They hold what I call a joker to their heart. You remember when we played cards in those days? You hold the jokers even to your chest, and you hide it because it's the trump card you will use to offset the cards of your opponent. That's the traditional. And that's how majority of people go into negotiation. Okay, you are not totally transparent. That's the traditional. That is the pedestrian, almost the most common way of negotiating. They tell you that, look, in some cultures, some traditions, they tell you what the elders use to eat their solid pap is underneath the solid pap. That you don't disclose all. That's the traditional. Okay, but that is thinking short-term perspective. Also, it has in his mind a competitive mindset. I don't want that person to get everything. And it's based on the philosophy of I want to win. I don't mind if the other person loses. So it is focused on self, focused on you alone. And the traditional focuses on winning at all costs. You understand how it plays? And this you will find that about 70% of negotiations even is all around traditional method. All right. The process is you state your position, you defend your position, you concede your position, you arrive at a compromise. That's how it works. But the compromise, you make sure that your joker is still there, so that you can play so that you get a better compromise at any time. Okay, so no full disclosure. That's what the tradition is all about. The outcome, because there's a to and fro, because you are hiding things and all that, it is stressful. The results are not, what we call, you don't maximize the result, you don't optimize the result, for both parties. So the results are really poor. Okay, benefits are not maximized to both parties, and you just live with a compromise. Okay, at least it's good. At least it's good. You are not totally excited, okay, about the result. Okay, and each party still thinks that, look, I didn't get a fair deal anymore. Okay, because, okay, don't forget, each parties are holding back a trump card, a joker in their hands and all that, and they're using that to try to outwit the other party. All right, the second method. I said the first method is what? Go on the chat box. What did I say the first method of negotiation is? Chat me up. First method, let 2 or 3 people write what is the first method I taught now. The first method of negotiation is what? Let's go on your chat box. The first method. Good. Traditional method. Thank you, Larry Adams. Awesome. Traditional method. Okay, and we saw that the traditional method is based on a win-lose philosophy. All right, now let's go to the principle method. The principle method pushes forth the values. This is what I will not do. For instance, you are an investor. You have made me maybe your brokers, your share, people who handle buying your share, you made them to understand, I will only go into ethical funds, ethical shares. I will not buy anything that does not conform even to kosher. I will not buy anything even that does not conform to my religious beliefs. So principles already will have delineated the scope of the negotiation. That is what we call principles. Your values, you put it up front. Don't forget, in traditional, there are no values put up front. This is what distinguishes this from traditional. Indeed, that is the major difference between traditional and principle negotiation. Do you get it? All right. On some negotiation table where there are some under deal courts, you have set it up, guys. Our own values in this company, we don't give bribes. So whether that will determine even the negotiation should go on or not, you have set it up front. Principles, this is critical. Then in principle negotiation, the intention is for mutual satisfaction. Compromise is also there before the agreement. So you isolate people from the problem. You state ahead your values and your principles. Okay, that's what we call the objective criteria. This is the criteria that I would, based on this, that I will go with this business or I will walk away. When it comes to suggestion of anything unethical, I will walk away. Those are objective criteria examples. And however, because you are gunning for mutual satisfaction, so the philosophy that drives the principle negotiation is a win-win. In principle negotiation, it's not about position focus, rather it's about interest focus. It is interest focus. And there is one particular example that I love to give that Harvard gave, and we will get there. There was this particular three people. They wanted, what we call a pumpkin. Pumpkin in America is like a big melon, and the shell of that big melon in most cases is used as mask during the Halloween festival, which is very common in America. Okay, and inside the pumpkin there are fruits, but inside the fruit there is a seed. So people also eat the fruit, and sometimes they throw away the seed. And there are these three friends who wanted the same pumpkin. There was only one pumpkin, and they were fighting vigorously for the pumpkin. So this arbitrator and negotiator came. He said, "What's your position?" He said, "I want the pumpkin." "What's your position?" "I want the pumpkin." No, all of them want the pumpkin, but there's only one pumpkin. So how can we get a win-win? So he told them, "Okay, now what is your interest in the pumpkin?" Someone said, "Really, what I need is the shell. I don't mind what happens to the inside. I will even scoop it out." Good. Then he went to the next. "What is your interest in the pumpkin?" He said, "What I want is, look, I just love the taste. I want to eat the fruit." "Is that all? What about the shell?" He said, No, I will just trash it." "What about the seed?" "I don't need it." Then he went to the third. He said, "What's your interest?" He said, "All I want is the seed. Who cares about the fruit? I will even wash off the fruit and throw away the shell." So the negotiator said, "Fine, then let us focus on interest and not position." So he took the pumpkin from them. He scooped out the fruit. He gave the shell alone to the one that wanted the shell. He gave the fruit to the one that wanted the fruit. Says, "Okay, take the fruit, remove the seed from the fruit and give me." That one did it, removed the seed from the fruit and gave him, and he now gave the seed to the one that wanted the seed alone. So it was a win-win after all. So what we are saying in most negotiations is that we do think that resources are not enough. We do think that resources are limited. However, if we focus on interest, we will find that resources are enough and available to go around in a win-win negotiation where we are interest focused and not position focused. Did that help you to understand win-win versus win-lose? Hello, class.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So in principal negotiation, the assumptions are that you can attain mutual satisfaction agreement, and there's an assumption of possibility of cooperation. But but this is not always true. Some parties are not just cooperating, and there's an assumption that you will always get the best agreement for us, not just for me, for the both parties. But I'm saying these assumptions are not always true in reality. You may face another party negotiator that is not thinking of cooperation. So how do we go about that? And that leads us to the third level of negotiation, which I will take in short. But looking at this second method of principal negotiation, the process is all about having a mental position of the parties as problem solvers, as teams. Even though there's a buyer, there's a seller, there's an offer and an offerer, there's a me and you. But think about yourself as a team working on a problem. So with different interests, okay, not reeling in your heels on your position. Okay, but your interests can be mutual if you look at it together. That's first thing. There's a mental position of the other party as your co-team, collaborating team. Likewise, you must strive for concession. That's what the process even of principal negotiation even teaches us. Explore mutual interests. Don't forget the one that wants the seed, the one that wants the fruit, the one that wants the shell. They have mutual interest. The interests do not clash if you break it down very well. Okay, only their positions clash. The position is I want the pumpkin. That's the position. I want the pumpkin. Okay, but if you follow position, then none of them will have it. There will be fight at the end of the day. There will be chaos at the end of the day. So the second process, the second method also presupposes that there's a process of brainstorming on multiple options to satisfy the mutual interest. So this second process of principal negotiation is tough on the problem, but easy on the people. Let's break the problem. Let's tear it down. Let's scrutinize it. That's what principal negotiation is all about. You drill down on the problem to the level of the fact that even you have gotten from it all the options available to help people with alternative outcomes. Okay, so what I've told you in reality, it might be difficult to have all the needs of all the parties satisfied. Now that's when we get to the aspect of partner. That okay, if all needs are not satisfied, what is the best alternative to the negotiated agreement? Do I walk away? Do I say yes? Do I just take 20% of what has been agreed and leave the rest so as to cut my loss? So what this best alternative to a negotiated agreement must be something that maybe if you are negotiating on behalf of Bank of Industry and you have been sent by your HOD, they will have given you the best alternative to your negotiated agreement even before you go. That at worst, you must not come back with more than 25% return. You must not come back with a negotiation that is lower than this. So that must be at the back of your mind. Roger Fisher and Williams, or in 1981 bestseller, Getting to Yes, negotiating without giving in. They are the one that came up with the principle of Bartner, called best alternative to a negotiated agreement. And one of the ways they said you quickly get people to say yes is they tell you that when you are in a negotiation, look at the areas where there are mutual agreements. And so there are least resistant, line of resistance. So start from there so that you will quickly get the other party to say yes, even to the little things before you get to the big things. They said by saying yes to the little things of life before the big things, okay, you have pursued the route of best alternative to a negotiated agreement faster. And so the other party may be able and be willing to say Yes, even to the bigger and much more naughty issues in life. So this is their theory. And so I'm saying practically in life, don't go for the naughty, divergent views first. Start off negotiation, conversation, discussion from the areas of mutual agreement. And this is what Japanese do. Building relationship first. That is the way of getting you to say yes on the long run. This is important. All right, so that's partner. Now, the outcome of principled negotiation in most cases, you find out that because you are seeking interest before people, you are out on problem and not on people, friendly disposition will be built. It is less stressful. What causes stress is emotional anger up. That look, you are unnecessarily using your energy negatively. That's what causes stress. So because this is mutual, you find that it's less stressful and it's quicker and more productive conversations. And also there is better performance by both parties. Both parties maximize the benefit. So that's some of the outcome of principled negotiation. I said the challenges with the traditional and principled negotiation is one, it assumes that there will always be an agreement at the end of the process. And so people are disappointed when they are non-resulting. That is when they don't achieve the agreement, they are disappointed. But the truth in life is that it is not all the time that every negotiation ends up in agreement. You must understand that. Sometimes you may have to walk away. The walking away may be for a time to reconvene, where you have better facts even to bring to the table and therefore maybe be able to have a much more mutual agreement. Likewise, the second challenge with principled and traditional negotiation is the fact that there are no intentional focus on developing relationship beyond the negotiation table. This is where win-win comes in. That's the Japanese kind of negotiation that focuses on relationships beyond negotiation table. Okay, so you find therefore that in principled and traditional negotiations, there are no follow-throughs after the negotiation. It's all about signing the dotted line and they go their own separate ways. Okay, and that is where the win-win comes in now. Let's look at the third negotiation. Before I go on to the third negotiation, please go on the chat box again and write what you learned about principled negotiation, what you learned about partner in principled negotiation, what you learned about emphasis even of the principled negotiation. Let us go on the chat box now. What is the emphasis of the principled negotiation? What distinguishes it from the traditional negotiation? What is partner, best alternative to a negotiated agreement? What is that in a principled negotiation? Let's go on the chat box now. Let's do it. Awesome. 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 Yes, I want the first person who will give me your understanding of principled negotiation. One major take out, one major takeaway. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Ibrahim, Saleh, John, Muazu, Wanka, Mohammed Fazal, let's do it. Give me your understanding of your take away from what we learned about principled negotiation. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Nanawa, oh, Franklin, let me have your perspective, the takeaway from what you understood as principled negotiation. Roots, let's do it. Femi, Tosin, Stephen, let's do it. Give me your understanding of your takeaway on principled negotiation. I hope you're all taking notes as I was teaching you. Sahad, Muhammad, give me your understanding of principled negotiation. Let's do it. Legemo, Tinimoye, let's do it. Write for me what's your understanding of a principled negotiation. I expect your input on the chat box. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Fazar, thank you. Principal negotiations involve drawing on objective criteria to settle difference of opinion. I love that. Okay, let's look at Kumase Oluwaseyi. Principal negotiation is focused on values. The intention is for mutual satisfaction. Awesome. I love this. Now let's move on. I love this. So let's go to win-win. And I think after this win-win, we can go on a short break. Okay. Win-win negotiation. What is the win-win negotiation? Very quickly. And I will quickly crush this. All right. The win-win negotiation, let us look at the mindset behind the win-win negotiation. The win-win negotiation is exactly the example of what I painted when I showed the example of the pumpkin and the three friends. What the negotiator brought to the party was a win-win. What the three friends brought to the party was a principled negotiation. What they would take and no more. Now that's why they came to the party with a partner. All I want is the seed. And so I want the seed and nothing else. But the abundance mentality, presupposes that everyone will have a piece of the pie at the end of the day. It's a win-win. It shows that resources are not scarce. What the other party came to the negotiation table with in principled and in traditional negotiation was that there's a scarcity mentality. That it is either I get it or I lose it. So I want to do everything to get it. That was what those three friends came to the party with. But the arbitrator and the negotiator came with the mentality of a win-win. Abundance. If you focus on the interest, not just on the position, you can get it. Okay. So cooperation is the way in win-win negotiation. And in win-win negotiation, relationship is the focus. It is beyond negotiation table. The intention is that the two parties will be able to build enduring negotiation beyond the table, and that the win-win outcome of the initial negotiation will bring about a spin-off of greater results in future. So trust is critical in win-win negotiation. I repeat, trust is critical. Welcome, Amina Salam. I can see that you are just coming in. Welcome. Okay. And I want to say here also that there must be full disclosure of information and interest. Full disclosure of information and interest in a win-win negotiation. It's critical. Full disclosure. Okay, so let's move. Win-win negotiation, what's it about? It's about doing businesses in such a way that both parties realize their respective interests by jointly pursuing common interests. Again, you are doing business in such a way that all parties achieve their interests by pursuing a common interest. The common interest is not a specific respective interest. It's just that, look, we don't want to destroy this both. Okay, you want to sit, I want to drive. Just like in marital relationships. The interest is not for the marriage to break down, but we have specific individual interests that we also want him to be served. Okay, so how do we ensure that the respective specific interests are protected, while also the common interest of protecting the home, protecting the marriage, protecting the business is also ensured? That's something that win-win is about. What are the steps in win-win? Let's quickly look at it. First, there is a plan. You must have a plan when you are going into a win-win negotiation. You must be, because you want to reduce the resistance level to as much as possible. So get information, do research to identify the dramatic personnel, the major people who are standing between you and the success, or who can cause failure on the other party. So know them. Then identify what is the interest of this party. Those parties that can determine success or failure on the other side, they are the gatekeepers. They are the power brokers within the team. As you know, for instance, I've told you, if it's a Chinese culture where you have a paternalistic, leader-centric negotiation model, it shows that the leader, in most cases, it's so critical. Now, among the Koreans, is also very, very important. Okay, so you must understand, you know, who is the critical gatekeeper, the power broker, and what is their interest? What do they desire from you? Please understand this. There is a dialogue. Maybe let me show you this. Sorry, please. I will use my blackboard. Please let me just use my blackboard at this point in time. Please, can you see my blackboard? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so there is the area of, we call it the area of influence. Influence. All right. And there is the area of interest. Everybody in life, you have your area of influence and you have your area of interests. What makes negotiation breaks down in most cases is when people don't understand that the other party has an area of interest that he must use his area of influence to appeal to. Your area of influence are determined by your resources. The area of influence is determined by even what you have, your talents. The area of influence is determined by what you have brought to the party. That's your influence. Influence based on psychology is you changing the mindset, the thought pattern of a person about a particular thing. So what can you use to change the thought pattern, the mindset of a person? Maybe it's the resources you have. Maybe it's your pricing regime. Maybe it's your specialization, whatever. Okay. Maybe it's because you are so big in the market. You know, you have come to the market with what Porter calls the leadership paradigm to the market. So you must know your area of influence. Is it your talent? Is it your unique gifts? Is it what are you bringing to the party that can appeal to the interest of the other party? I will tell you, for instance, you want to choose a mentor for life. And you must be able to understand that in mentoring relationship, even your mentor has an area of interest. What you are seeking to attract is this area of influence, isn't it? Okay, so you want his wisdom, you want even him to fast track your growth to your own end goal. That is his area of influence. You want to attract his own area of influence. So if you must attract his area of influence in that negotiation relationship, you must also identify his area of interest and look at how your own area of influence can help satisfy that. In a mentor relationship, let me tell you how it works. The mentor may have reached the top of his career, and his desire is to leave a legacy. His desire is an affirmation that, yes, he has impacted life. So he's seeking self-actualization based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if you must, his time also is very, very expensive. His time, he must give you 1 hour of his time. You must be able to appeal to those needs on his inside, which is his interest. Maybe, how do you even make him to take notice of you as someone who is following him? You must give valuable feedback about maybe some of, maybe you went to a conference, you followed that conference and you listen to it. You don't just say good conference. No. You must let him know what particular thing in that conference that you love. And maybe even suggest, look, I love all that. Now, and you even add value by telling, okay, sir, I also suggest, sir, that, when you give this example, okay, maybe, this example should have come before this because it resonated better with me, by rearranging it that way. Thank you, sir. I love this. You are giving him value. You are making him not to see you as a linchpin, not as someone who only want to suck. You want to give also. So this relationship is very important, and I think I should explain this. So in a negotiation table, identify the area of influence and the area of interest of the other party. The area of influence is what you want to attract that will help you to sway the decision towards you. While the area of interest has to do with their need. So your area of influence must satisfy your area of interest, while your own area of interest will now appeal to your area of influence. That's how you have a win-win. Okay, let's go now. Let me show you the slide. I said we will soon go on a break in just about maybe 5 minutes or so. So, and that's what I've explained here very quickly. Please, are you able to see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see
Yes, sir.
Good. So this is what I've explained. This is a cycle. We call it the cycle of the model of interest and influence. Your area, your own. So let's say the top quadrant, okay, are the area of power, for the other party and your area of interest. While the lower quadrants are your own area of wants, or what you call interest, and their own area of power. So it must appeal to each other if you want them to willingly yield even their area of power to you. And I've given you examples of how you can, dissect what is their interest so that's to attract their power. I will tell you, once you appeal to their interest, which is their heart, they will open their pocket, which is their area of power to you. It's very, very simple. So quickly, I said, you must develop a win-win relationship. Put people before prize. Plan activities that will help relationships to develop. Cultivate relationships. Social reminders about birthdays, send them, make them to know that they are uppermost in your heart. Okay. And also seek a way of being a solution to the problem they have. That is how you enter into your boss's book, your supervisor's book. Help them even to solve the problem that is uppermost in their heart. Okay. And you must understand that, opening up the areas of power of those you seek to negotiate with is not a bait. It's something you must do consistently to show that you are adding value to them. All right. So, and this is important. I said, help them to be motivated to open up their area of power rather than just seeking it as an incentive. Motivation is when it is coming from within them because they know that you have read that value. Okay, it is different from being incentive. Incentive comes from outside. You just want something for something. No. Don't let it be something for something. Let it be that they are convinced that you're adding value and so they are willingly giving it. That leads to a sustainable relationship. And this is my, my own diagram about how you cultivate relationships. Okay, the reference points of stages where you can cultivate relationships. Social media. The untouched, and all that. These are reference points. But don't forget, it starts from the fact that you socialize, by making them to receive value from you and all that, get in touch with them and all that. Then it leads to acquaintance. And from acquaintance, it leads to friendship. They can trust you. Okay, they can trust you. And that's the diagram I've shown here. All right. And at each point of reference point, you build what I call emotional bank credits. Okay, don't be very fast in spending your emotional bank credits. Let it build up so that it grows deep in relationship and leads to friendship. And with friendship, they can trust you even as you come to a negotiation table that you are their best interest and they can open up all their area of power onto you. That's what this is all about. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I will say at this point in time that this third form of win-win agreement, you try to verify the needs and the wants of the other party. You implement a win-win strategy, as I explained, and you are all about helping to solve problems together. And thereafter, you seal the agreement. Okay. So how does it work? In building relationship, I said, you maintain the agreements, as I've shown in that diagram. You maintain not only agreement, the relationship beyond the agreement. Then you maintain the plans, and even and this is where after sales service comes. Okay, to people who render services, and people trust you more because it's beyond just delivering on the agreement. You are building a relationship, but also maintaining the plan of how you service them, how you check back on them and all that. Okay, so that if future changes will occur, you both mutually agree also. This is how it works if you want to build a long-standing win-win agreement. Critical success factor for win-win relationship, there is a balance. You want to balance things, balance your interest, balance your desires. You don't want to put position first before interest. There's integrity in terms of transparency. And there's patience because the result doesn't come very fast, but it is enduring when it comes. So 3 critical factors for win-win relationship. Balance. It's not all about you. You're considering also the other party. That's balance. Balance. Win-win. Then there's integrity. I said there's transparency. There's no holding of any trump card to your checks. No joker that you want to play against the person. No. And there is patience because the result may be long in coming, but it's long term and is enduring. All right. I think at this point in time, I will go for a break. We will listen. We'll start from the video from Harvard University, even when we come back. So we'll go for a break now. I will say, will we have is it a 10, 15 minutes break? So if we go on break now, this is 10:18. 10:18. Should we come back around 10:30? Is it possible to come back around 10:30? Please speak to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. So we come back by 10:30, please.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. So nature breaks. Stretch your legs. Stretch your legs and stretch your legs.